Looks fine without me at all. Looks great.
I
It's
hate
just
you,
great.
Sean.
Don't worry.
Anyways, thank you for showing up again for the doubleheader fun times. We're going to try and go ahead and get through Deceiver's Tools Session 11. We've been at it for quite a little while, trying to go for it, and here we go. So last time, for those of you who are loyal viewers, you would note that during the last session that was run, the group was split. The party kind of shifted to two different groups. The elves went back to Vafa's shack, and Pleasant and Oris remained at the lakeside inside of the shack near the lake. It's dark, completely pitch black for you two, and the storm seems to be kind of getting a bit more dense as evening becomes dark enough to become nighttime. That said, I need to go find my map. So put it away. Let's see. Bear with me here.
Wow, you're not even ready.
I am ready, but the two of you... Don't you start with me. The two of you are in the shack, waiting there, correct? And you haven't done anything besides you're just waiting for the others to return.
I think so.
In the shack or in the shaft? Because I think I'd remember being in John.
The shack.
The shack?
So anyways, the shack, don't make it weird. Is there anything you guys want to do during the course of
we were going to smoke that weed.
Yeah.
Oh, was
yeah,
that?
We were.
Yeah. Yeah, we were going to smoke that stuff.
That was the plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, it's completely dark in here. There aren't many windows to your shack, but if you want to light a fire so that you can...
Yeah, we'll just hotbox.
Alright. Which one of you two is going... Which one of you two is going to be the implementer of fire?
Always will give it a go. I
Yeah.
think he's got some stuff.
Okay. So you light the fire, and the materials hanging from the wall is still damp from having been pulled. So it's not really flammable.
I have a tinderbox.
Yeah, I've not got
Tinderbox is good for starting a fire. If you have a torch, that's a good way to keep a fire. And if you do so, you hand it over to Oris. And again, there's the window to the northern side of the shack. And of course, you're still in the shack where the blood is kind of still staining the ground. The desk with less than nothing materials, and right outside is the lake. The dock with the boat. Would one of you please roll me a D100?
Do you want to do it or do you want me to do it?
I can do it.
D100.
Okay, pretty good roll. So
Yes.
the two of you are kind of keeping to yourselves. It's getting a bit colder, and yeah, just not exactly the most pleasant situations. Thunder becomes a lot more common, and every so often you can see a strike of lightning off in on and around the lake. While that's happening, out in the forest, prying eyes watch upon you. A group of individuals, this is for Zach and for Shaft, are moving through the forest with some haste. It's your goal to find a place where you can safely bed down from the rain, get shelter from it. And up ahead you see the lake, but on the coast of the lake, maybe 100 or so feet from where you're standing at the breach from the forest, you see light coming from a small shack. What would you like to do?
I turn to him.
I say, that looks like it might be quite the place to sleep tonight.
Andovan kind
This
of
rain.
looks over at you with his shield over his head and says, "Aye, my lord, should we hoof it over that way, or...?"
Why
Seems
don't you...
best. I'll inquire about any current occupants, and I'll go approach them.
Okay. as you're starting to move forward, the young lad and basically burden carrier of the group says, "Would you like someone to accompany you?"
I
Why
should be
don't
fine.
Okay. And you start walking out into the open rain out of the cover of the forest. The water streaking across your blue skin just feels nice, quite satisfying actually. And it's not as cold as it was when it was under the forest. Something about being out in the open is a bit more refreshing to you. You start to march out across the soggy grass. And Oris and Pleasant, the two of you, go ahead and make a perception check. And don't forget to let me know your results, yeah?
13.
Okay.
You can't see our rolls.
I can, but the people in Twitch can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to bog up the screen with numbers. 24. Cool. Great. So, Oris, you notice that there's a figure approaching. And with the idea of shadows being kind of necessary here, but the striking of lightning revealing more, Zach, feel free to elegantly describe what your character looks like.
Well, you see a Quira merfolk. He is wearing basic leather armor, slightly nicer clothes than regular Travels clothes. Like, this dude has some money or is working for some dude who has some money. Relatively confident walk. Seems to be by himself. Image for you all on screen.
Is this the same type of person that we met previously that's with,
He is a merfolk, and merfolks are typically blue, green, or kind of purple-colored skin. They'll have a head tail, and distinguishing features are, sometimes like spotting to denote age. Some of them have harder skin or scales in certain points on their body. This one, you're not terribly familiar with different types of merfolk, so yeah, he does kind of look like the other one.
okay.
Racist.
Hey.
Oris would probably, noticing this, would probably turn to Pleasant and just shh, and then slowly pick up his axe as quiet as he can and just ready himself by the door.
Okay. You are holding a torch in the other hand.
He'll pass the torch to Pleasant.
Yeah,
as he
I'll grab
picks
the
up
torch.
axe.
Okay. All right. And you continue approaching. You do very clearly notice that the shadows now at this point denote that someone is brandishing a very large weapon, very hard to conceal, especially with shadow light. And they are standing at the door, kind of waiting, as if they're in a defensive posture at the door frame. Zach.
Taking a moment, and then I guess, maybe they'll kill me. I'll knock. I got a way out.
The door's open.
The door's open, then I'm just gonna knock on the open door. I'm not entering.
Okay.
I'm just, knocking.
So he casually steps up onto the deck of the home, or the shack, and knocks on the door frame, just kind of not peering in, but standing right outside the door for you, Oris. He is definitely in baseball bat swing of a great axe. If he was afraid of hostilities, he's clearly not showing it.
Oris would probably swing and just pull it just before, so it's like he was going to take off the head, but just right second before pull it back so it just rests against his head.
Okay. So
Just rest there so that he's in a position of strength to
a
start
massive
conversation.
great axe comes billowing out of the door frame and stops, right near your neck. The nature of this great axe is at first kind of intimidating, and then you kind of look at it and it's actually horrifying. It looks like it's completely red in coloration, and it looks like in its center portion it has a gemstone or glass orb that's set in the head of the axe to make it look like this red metal has been kind of fused to look like musculature, and the eye piece is the glass orb I mentioned.
So, not entirely caught off guard. Pleasure to meet you. It's quite a way to greet a visitor.
Not many people around these parts seem particularly friendly.
Perhaps that's because you don't give them the chance.
Not many people get one.
I'm glad you changed your mind with me. I have some companions that are stuck out in the forest, covering from rain. We were hoping you'd provide us some shelter for a short time.
5 gold each.
Sir, I just asked for a roof over our head. That is a high request. I'm happy to provide 5 gold, but 5 gold each seems excessive.
Can I repeat in his voice? 5 gold each.
In Oris's voice or in
In Oris's voice.
Okay. You hear a second voice exactly identical to the one you're looking at say the same.
I just want to be like squawking it in the background.
If I can
I
see
shall-
that he's in the doorway negotiating, I'm going to start advancing that way.
Okay.
It's like-
Oris, very clearly, it looks like a group of 4 more individuals are approaching.
These your friends?
They are. And, you seem to have others inside as well.
Shaft, as they are approaching and getting close to Torchlight, Andovan very quickly drops his shield from a resting position and draws his sword with his hand. He's got an axe to him! He yells out across the way.
Hand goes right behind me,
Oh.
just to like, I'm okay.
They call Leon.
We're fine. We're just
Well,
talking. Don't kill him yet, but maybe.
We're just getting 5 gold from you.
He'd be an imbecile to be out here without an axe. Or some type of protection. You saw what those goblins did.
Of course. He slowly sheaths his sword, kind of looking at the situation, and puts his shield back over his head.
Obviously, probably quite horrifying to look at to a degree. He's been set on fire and chopped up into little pieces.
Wait, when
been
were you set
little-
on fire?
I set myself on fire at one point. Chad did it. Chad set me on fire
Yeah.
with a fireboard under the
Okay.
kisses.
Brilliant.
Well, this was after you cut yourself to make yourself bleed.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't say it
Okay.
was unwarranted, the fire, but...
Then I'll shout back to Leon. He asks 5 each.
I don't have any. Damn.
Which is why I offered him the 5 for myself, knowing that my companions did not have it. But he seems to not be respecting that request.
I mean,
Five
do I really
food.
not have my... John? Is that a real thing?
You should have about 150 gold pieces on you from the stuff I purchased in the leftover. Sorry, I didn't put it on your sheet.
Okay, that changes things a little bit.
Yeah, we're rich, bro. We got plenty of money. I'm
Like,
just being an
oh,
asshole.
5 with no money.
You got half plate and a +1 shield.
Oh, cool. It's a fair price. It's pay that for brothel around here, or an inn. Since I'm a paladin, I don't go to brothels.
if you want that type of experience, 30 gold each.
Whoa.
Or it'll say
I
with a
assume-
big jokey smile on his face as he says it.
As
You heard the offer.
I can barely hear him.
Who can you barely hear?
The gentleman. in the-
Lewis. He usually talks
So-
in kind of a raspy voice anyway, so it's fine.
So I didn't actually hear his offer.
Okay.
Like I said, I just pretend like I understand what people said.
Well,
Sounds strange.
you understand common.
Oh, I just mean like in
Uh-oh.
the actual voice chat.
So the offer was just 5 gold a head, then, right? I mean,
5 gold apiece, or 30 gold if you'd like to have a brothel experience. Which, that's
With
what I'm-
Oris.
Yeah, with Oris. That's what he's offered you.
And even
I'm
kind of
happy to pay it for you if you need me to.
our vows make it so we can't even consider that. Just kind of
I
shrugs.
don't even have testicles anymore.
I'm a holy
I'm a
man.
eunuch, pal.
Um,
Oh, I'm
Doesn't
assuming-
mean you can't do hand stuff.
let's just drop this entire topic as
assuming-
a whole, because it's really not getting us anywhere, and it's not terribly funny. So
It's getting me somewhere, but you guys can't see it on camera.
Always all.
change the subject.
I'm
Move to something not weird.
assuming this
Please.
30 gold will also come with a meal.
Always all just bring the axe down, just put it on the floor, and just said, 5 gold a person. We've got overheads to pay.
Alright,
5 gold a day.
He said
That's a-
yes, I'll hand him
A
25.
paltry amount. It's trivial at this point. I just need to get some. So we can dispatch of these goblins in the morning.
It's not our charge to deal with the goblins. It's our charge to go find the temple, my lord.
There's no point in finding the temple without dispatching these goblins. They'll overrun it again.
I suppose.
Who the hell are you talking to?
I apologize. The individuals that approach, you have already met the merfolk. Coming up behind him, the one who seems to be the one that everyone's deferring to. Shaft, describe your character.
What kind of armor am I in?
Half plate.
Quite the devilishly handsome. Obviously, holy, ordained with all these holy symbols. And there you go. And half longsword and followers in hand to shield as well. Long flowing brown locks down past my shoulders. Typical paladin. Carries himself.
Alongside him is a similarly dressed and adorned armor-wise individual who appears to be quite young, possibly 14 or 15 years of age. Longsword, shield on his back of the Osirian tradition, and the cross of Batavius set upon his gorget. It doesn't look like the leader is wearing as much armor, kind of toned down from full set of half plate to kind of allow him a bit more movement and flowing of his hair. Along with them is a young lad, maybe 18 or so. Looks like he's carrying a lot of gear on his person. You would notice that the two paladins don't appear to be wearing backpacks or like traveling gear, but it seems to be being carried by this young lad who looks a bit scrawny, but when you kind of look at him a second time, you notice that he's literally just a bundle of muscle and just scraggly brown hair. He also has a long sword at his belt, but it looks like it's just another copy of the swords that the other two are carrying, an Atavian Holy Knight sword. And then last but not least, very short individual approaches, appears to be a gnome. Her hair is bright green and kind of pokes out from the top of her head in almost like a spiky-like fashion. She's carrying what looks to be a staff, but upon closer inspection, you notice in the gnarled mass at the top, there's a small bit of a barbed blade jutting out from the top. And when she kind of moves up to it and everyone's starting to enter into the shack, she says, "My Lord Leon, do you wish for me to go and recover food, or are you going to take what they have on offer, or do you wish to use our rations as we have them?"
Oh, what is the offer? What is there to offer?
Rations,
We got
that's
some
it.
plant.
Yes, if you could acquire us some food, that'd be lovely.
I'll see if I can fish something off of the lake. I'll return shortly. And she darts off into the dark.
Always is going to try and stop her, just raise that point at her before she can go and go.
Huh?
I don't recommend that.
Why is that?
The fish bite back.
Whatever do you mean?
We aren't the only peoples on this lake. There's stuff in it. And a meal like you wouldn't be hard to take.
I get your meaning. Alright, I guess rations it is. She enters into the shack and moves to a corner, sits down close to the window and kind of peers out it, and sets her spear next to her, pulls out her rations and starts eating. It looks like the same happens from the young lad, and through early introductions, the NPCs here that are traveling alongside with the paladin will introduce themselves as Andovan is the young squire. Colin is the travel or the pack mule, and Armina is the gnome. Andovan, Armina, and Callan. Okay. You guys sit there, and is there anything that you want to do? Discuss?
The inhabitants of this lake that you say... could you elaborate on that?
Some kind of fish people like to hook in strays and stuff that go on the surface of the water, drag them under, drown them, and then make a bit of a meal out of them.
Fish people is an awfully broad term, if you care to clarify.
Not your type. The more fishy kind.
At this point, have we already encountered... I'm assuming these are like merfolk of some sort?
No, they don't seem to be ringing any bells, but Zach, you can go ahead and make just a nature check. I'll allow you to add your proficiency if you don't have it. If you do have nature trained, you can add double your proficiency. Are you trained in it normally?
It's 19.
Okay. So you would know that fish folk is a common term among landlubbers who don't really understand the fact that, under the waves and under the rivers, there's an entire ecosystem of its own. Based on what you're thinking here, it could mean one of three different things. It could be Sahagin, who have somehow straggled in from the coast, which is some miles away, but still there's access points, waterways that make their way through here, even underground as well. So it could be Sahagin, which are shark folk. It could be Kuatoa, which come up from under the ground in deep lakes beneath, and are a bit more fishy, as mentioned, fish-like. And then the last, it could be a band of possibly Tritons, as well. And sometimes Tritons are a bit more civilized, but in essence, they're more of a hunter-gatherer kind of society
Right.
amongst the waterways.
Okay.
And you've encountered these fish folk already?
Seen them, not fought 'em.
So is this your hovel?
It is now.
Charming.
Andovan says,
Towards the back corner, where isn't there a corpse that was ripped open?
no, you guys buried that.
Yeah, we buried that one. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we had.
There's still blood stains on the ground, but they're
Yeah,
stained into the wood. So that's something you guys have all noticed, but yeah. But it looks like it's quite old death. Andovan kind of breaks in and says, "We're looking for a temple near here, a temple of Atavius. We seek to return it to its glory and return it to the even-handed judge. Have you seen a temple around these parts?"
Wouldn't be the one in the middle of the lake, would it? I know
There's-
it's ruined or something in the
There's
middle
a
of
temple in the
lake.
middle of the lake?
There's some structure there. I'm not from around these parts, so I'm not really sure of what would be around. I know there's something in the middle.
Interesting. No, that's strange. Could that be it? Looks over to Elam.
How do you know there's a structure in the lake?
We met one of your kind. A member of a circle of some kind. He had known about it and mentioned it to us, so we thought we'd come have a wander and a nosy.
I see.
Death week for me.
It seems at least plausible, said Andovan.
You hear a loud come from the corner, or over by the desk, and you see that the young lad who was carrying everything has basically dispensed his charge and kind of is just kind of taken to sleeping right there on the floor.
Is Chad's character here with us?
No. And neither is Stephanie, who said yet.
So they're just the two of you.
Correct.
Well, be on your wits tonight. We encountered quite the band of goblins in our search today. They dispatched a couple of our
Andovan says to you, "My lord, you fought bravely in the combat versus those goblins. If you wish to take the first rest, I'll take the first watch, my lord."
I always fight bravely, and as will you one day.
I hope to be.
I cut him off and just say, "You will take the first."
Very good.
All of us will take it with the boy.
Okay. And he kind of stands near the door, his longsword out, and placed point down on the floorboards, and he says, "What happened here?" quietly as everybody else kind of moves to sleep. On that point, though, the NPCs definitely got rushed right to bed after eating their rations. Pleasant, it looks like Oris is planning on staying up and kind of allowing you some time to get some sleep. Do you wish to take that opportunity, or do you want to stay up because you're not sure about your new companions here? You're muted, I think. No. What did you do?
Mistakes were made.
Still muted.
Yeah?
There it is.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're good. Got you.
Whenever I have to talk, it just fucks up. I mean, it messes up.
You can curse. I don't give a shit. Just
Well, I don't know if you can on Twitch.
Yeah, you can. You can curse because I said it for mature audiences, but you can't
Oh.
do weird shit like, yeah, weird shit.
You can't make elf jokes.
Yeah, you can't make elf jokes.
I don't... Yeah, I guess I'll go to sleep. I don't know. I don't have anything to really...
Okay.
I look very trustworthy. And so does
All of
I'm-
his mindset.
Also, what... I'm pretty sure, like, since we smoked that stuff...
Well, you wouldn't have had an ability to smoke that stuff. Like I said, it's still wet. It was hanged up for drying. It isn't at a point where it's usable.
Lame.
You can't just pick
Wow.
it off of the. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah,
Why can't I just throw it on the fire?
you could. I mean, it won't be as potent, and it might give you a slight buzz. But again, it's on a torch. You don't have
There's
like
no point.
just
There's
eat it.
no point in being awake then.
you go to
I
sleep.
can't.
If I can't be a high bird, then I'm gonna be a sleepy bird. All right. So Andovan says to yours, "What happened here?" Points down at the blood.
I'm not quite sure. It was like that when we found it, a couple of bodies that we buried. Gave what little rights we knew.
Was it the fish hunters you were talking about before? You think?
More than likely. That, or maybe them goblins that you and your friends ran into. Any number of things, potentially. It's a forest, after all.
Why are you out here? Are you going to the temple or?
I'm going to go kill an old friend in the long run. But for now,
Oh,
it's where the wind takes me.
okay. Seems confused by that and just kind of goes back to what he's doing.
He's really got it out for Copperhead.
He's like, that's cool, I guess.
All right. After your watch concludes, Andovan kind of moves over to. He would actually wake up the merfolk for the second watch. Kind of shakes you awake and says, "I want to make sure the Lord has a lot of as much sleep as possible. So he'll take the last one.
It's understood.
And then he goes to sleep right after, pulling his armor off and heading to bed. Oris, do you wake up Pleasant, or do you let the merfolk take the watch solo?
If I stayed awake a bit longer and when the third watch started, what was Pleasant? Would I have enough sleep, or would I take a point of exhaustion?
Exhaustion down.
I'll wake up the bird and then go lie down. I'm not completely trustworthy of these lot.
Yeah, no problem. So Pleasant, you wake up and you see that the leader of the group is kind of slowly putting his armor, or no, sorry, rewind, not him.
Mm-hmm.
You see that the merfolk is apologies.
Hardly seems like a well thought out plan for him to wake you up now. What's your plan for the third watch? There's only 2 of you. Eventually you're gonna have to trust us.
I don't need trust, I just need the knowledge that I can kill the lot of you if I need to. And I'm pretty confident in that at the moment.
Fair enough. Enjoy your rest. Do I notice the fucking weed hanging up trying to dry?
Yeah. Devil's weed.
Cool.
You can't smoke it.
But can I use this to help it get more smokable faster?
Yeah.
I prestidigitation.
I say you could prestidigitation it down.
Dry it out, warm
Yeah.
it up a little bit.
I'd allow
Get it
that.
nice and toasty.
I'd allow
Fuck yeah.
that. And do you have a pipe on your
I like
person?
how this is the goal.
Hey, I'm trying to make friends. You looked like you were trying to dry something, and I can do that without batting an eye.
If Elam doesn't have a pipe on his person, if he's not typically a smoker, you would know that my brain's not working. Cowlin does smoke when he has the opportunity to, and so he would have a pipe.
And I will procure his pipe for them. I have no intention of partaking, but I'm just trying to make friends.
Okay. Do you hand that over to Pleasant?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I actually offer it to her, and I'll say, if you'd like, I'm happy to prepare it for you.
5 gold apiece.
I take the pipe and I say,
In Elvish, or are you using his words?
can I talk? Can he understand Elvish?
Can he understand Elvish?
I don't know. Can I
You
understand
should have
Elvish?
common,
Nope, I cannot.
Aquan, and you should actually have languages for Sage. I didn't put them on there. You should have 2 languages.
Draconic and Undercommon.
No. I didn't put
That's what it
options.
says here.
I didn't put options
I'll
in
just
there.
I'll just repeat in his tongue.
Nah.
It kind of break it up, but just say basically like, would you like to partake? I don't think he says that word for word, but
I'm fine, thank you. But please, enjoy.
I look at him and then I set the pipe down and I push it away. Oh, actually, I put some in my pocket, but I don't smoke any.
Do you try to put some in your pocket without him noticing?
Yeah, whenever he turns around or
Sleight
something.
of hand it,
Yeah.
and perception to counter.
Wait, should I do a perception?
No, you'll make a sleight of hand,
Oh.
and then he'll make a
Oh.
perception check to see if he sees you. Basically, hand the pipe with nothing in it.
I got
28.
28.
24, damn it.
She sets the pipe down, and it doesn't look like she did anything manipulating with it. But you can very easily insight that she's not willing to take in a substance that's, going to mind alter her if you're not willing to do it as well.
So we can't talk to each other because we don't speak the same language, right?
Correct. If he doesn't speak Elvish,
Okay.
then you're basically able to say words that you know.
Oh,
Oh.
I got this thing, though. You gave me social cunning.
Oh yeah. You can speak enough back and forth. Yeah, to simple ideas.
I can comprehend-ish, but you can't have a conversation.
And
Yeah.
she can use your words that you're saying, and also words she's heard in the past, But you don't have to specifically remember any kind of words, but you've probably heard a lot of people talking, so.
So I can speak. He basically just can't respond like in like full, like comprehensive sentences.
We're not going to make sentences, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, cool.
But if you say, there's something out there, like, I can understand something out there that way.
Yeah. So I ask him, are you tired?
It's been a long day of travel. I would expect anyone to be tired at some level.
I'm not tired.
It's impressive. What gives you this endurance?
I don't do much. I let others do it for me.
Conserving energy.
Always
Smart.
nods in his sleep.
Pleasant, you would note too at this point the torch that you have been handed by Oris at the beginning of the watch cycle has come to a point where it's terminating. You can relight a new torch if you have a second one.
I have a lantern.
Oh, then that's a lot
I'm pretty
better.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use that.
I was like, I'm just holding this torch, like, oh, okay. This is mine now.
And now you have a lantern instead. Okay. The two of you guys have any other things that you want to discuss as minimalistically as you can?
Can I just like stare at him?
Yeah.
Like very obviously, like looking at his like skin and his differentiating features, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely has a certain distinction compared to Vafa. Vafa is very smooth-skinned. Like he swims all the time. Whereas this merfolk seems to have more of kind of a scaly texture to him and isn't as svelte looking. Like he may not swim all the time.
You're lumpy. I tell him, you look lumpy.
You're fluffy. I like this game.
I just sit there and I like look at him and I'm like analyzing him more, like squinting at him.
Would you like to hear a song while you sit?
Seems pretty chill.
I feel like we definitely should be
fuck up,
smoking
I'm trying to
this
sleep.
devil's weed now.
Oris gets grumpy.
Perhaps when our watch is over.
Oris doesn't like sound.
Or is it just gonna slowly reach towards the axe? Just move it a bit closer.
Meanwhile, Zach. Meanwhile, very good play though. Meanwhile, Vafa, Phi, and Kelder, you've made your way to the lake, but you've actually exited at the wrong location. You can see that a good 800 or so feet, there's a light kind of glowing over where the shack would be. Hold on a second.
I forgot to mention, like I was gonna say to John at the start, in the time that we've just been sat in the shack, I reckon Oris would have been saying random words at Pleasant so she had more stuff she could say.
Oh yeah, he shouted a bunch of curse words for me.
Yeah,
I'll probably tell you all the curse words.
Sorry.
just everything. A curse word in every language Oris knows.
I was
Okay.
just there and I was like, mm-hmm.
So, that said, Vafa looks over in that direction, and even from this distance, and the storm kind of eking out its thunder still quite heavily, you notice that it does look like the lightning, like dropping down, is revealing kind of a silhouette of the lake. And you see that there's a point in the lake where, very close to where you're at, 2 points of land kind of come towards the middle, and the silhouette of what appears to be the top of a spire can be seen off in the distance. And you can see the symbol of Atavius, the Atavian cross, set atop the spire.
Kelder waves to his companions and starts moving towards the shack. Did these newcomers bring any horses or anything with them? Is there anything or anyone outside the shack that he does not know?
So at this point, you see a shack with light. So you don't know that there are newcomers.
Regardless, he's going to proceed carefully.
Okay. Vafa does as well. And Phi kind of hangs back. All right. You approach. As you do so, Pleasant, kind of keeping an eye out the door, and the same would probably be true of you as you're looking out the window and keeping an eye out there as well. You notice that there are silhouettes moving quietly across the water, or near the waterway, or the lakeside rather.
Do you recognize them?
Kelder's bright blonde hair shines in the lightning. After a glance, you can see a dark silhouette that you presume is Phi's dour form, and light blue skin of the merfolk glows in the light as well.
What if I just say no?
Well, we'll see what happens.
Not sure.
And you're not going to wake your companion?
Not yet. You can handle
And
it.
I shall do the same. Wait, we shall.
Okay. As they approach further on, it becomes very evident to you, Pleasant, that it is in fact Kelder, Phi, and Vafa.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. Do you let them approach?
Yeah, I'll let them approach.
Kelder, you see that there is a merfolk inside of the chamber, as has been described, Zach's character, sitting within, and Pleasant is also awake, and it looks like a group of other people is asleep inside of the shack.
While
So-
we're looking... Oh, sorry.
Kelder looks kind of like he gives a kind of like a curious, confused look at the newcomer, and then he looks at Pleasant and he says in Elvish, "Who's this?"
Some fish people.
Do you say in Elvish?
Yeah,
Okay. Vafa
or
says,
some fish person.
rude.
Sorry.
Vafa said, in Elvish says, rude, and then looks to you, in Aquan, speaks to you, Zach.
So, yeah. I would when he says that, I would kind of give like Papa an apologetic look and say in Elvish, "Sorry."
Not sorry.
Vafa looks to the other merfolk, and he says, in Aquan, and the only word that you guys are able to distinguish from it is the word Quoira, which kind of is spoken kind of boldly in the sentence. But he says to you, "You are a member of the Quoira tribe, are you not?"
Aye.
"I am a trackless." "What brings you here? Who are these that you travel with?"
This is Leon, last name I've forgotten. He is a... Oh my god, I need to get my notes out. Give me a sec. Who am I? This is... Hold on 1 second. This is Leon. We are from the town of Ursulon.
You were sent out here for what purpose?
There's a temple. We've been told it might be in the center of the lake, and we've been asked to restore it to its former glory.
I am Vafa Kamnimnen. You said you came from Ursulon. Make a intelligence history check real quick while he's speaking.
Can I just like throw something at Oris to kind of wake him up while they're talking?
Oris, make a constitution or a wisdom perception check. Lewis,
It's a 15.
make a wisdom perception check. 15. So you actually know the name Vafa. Vafa is an associate of the Association of Talna Marie, specifically a sword associate. He serves as a constable for the city or the town of Ursulon. He's basically like a cops, a magistrate type who's out here in the forest. So his job is to protect the wilds.
I rolled a 17 for that perception check.
You lift an eye up and you can see that Kelder, Phi, and Vafa are present.
Also stand up and just maneuver over to him. Not say anything, still a bit grumpy.
Okay.
Notice that the weed's gone, and just look at.
No. It's not. There's a shit ton of it. She pocketed a bit.
Oh.
She didn't stealth check an entire wall full of devil's weed into her pocket, and then and the merfolk was like, "What happened?"
Where'd it go?
That's not how it worked. But very quickly, Fi moves into the corner that Pleasant was in before, that she was kind of safeguarding as her spot, drops into the lotus position, and enters her meditative trance.
Just gonna trance on us.
So, Oris is a pretty big guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kelder very clearly sees him, like, stand up and shake off the sleep. And Kelder smiles and he says, "Glad to see you're in one piece."
Takes morals that rip me apart, as we know.
Well, since you're awake, would you mind keeping an eye on things while and he kind of gestures at Fi and he says, "Get some rest."
Go for it.
So Kelder also finds, is there a fire going?
No, there's a lantern.
Okay, well, he's going to find, just a comfortable spot somewhere that's out of the way, and also
Over next to Fi.
What's the drawbacks
Okay.
for exhaustion, John?
You'll have disadvantage on all your ability checks throughout the next day. And it looks like Pleasant's already awake, so you can just go back to sleep.
You can go back to sleep if you want. I just want to let you know that was happening.
Yeah, Kelder doesn't really care as long as somebody's on watch. and
Also,
can keep an
Kelder
eye
and Fi in their trance state are absolutely aware of what's going on inside of the room.
Okay. They're
Also
like
go back to sleep.
aware.
Yeah, she basically drops into the lotus position. She's kind of sitting there with her arms crossed across her chest, and her eyes are wide open, but there's like a slight green discoloration to them as she's
that's
entered
creepy.
into the Feywild.
Yeah, Oris will start to go back to sleep. He'll spend like 5 minutes in that moment of you've just woken up and can't get straight back to sleep, just occasionally poking Caldor or Fi, whoever's in a trance, and just annoying them a bit.
Can
until
I
they actually fall
can I
asleep.
pass Oris the pipe?
So Fi, like noticing you're doing that and still having spells left over from the day, will cast a spell on you. Let's see.
Actually, no.
Go
Fi
ahead.
doesn't need to do that. I'll just put Oris to sleep.
No, he has way more hit points than you could ever roll.
Okay, fair enough.
Make a wisdom saving throw. You just stop moving. She just very elegantly kind of stands up from her position, looks at you, and kind of grabs you by the collar, moves you back over to your corner, takes her leg and kind of sweeps your leg out from under you like you were just a brick, and settles you back down. And she looks at you in your eyes and says, "Go to sleep." And then she walks back to her position, folds back down into her seat, and her eyes glaze over.
Kelder stifles a laugh.
For the next minute or so, you're held. You're basically just locked in your position, and you kind of feel it's necessary to fall asleep anyways.
I think in that first 10 seconds of being on the floor,
Yep.
he's probably already asleep as she's talking.
And yeah, it definitely is kind of the easiest go to sleep mode because you're literally locked. Anyways, Vapa looks back to the new individual and asks you your name. Do you give him it or do you hold it? Zach. Zach,
What's that? Oh, now I can hear you. Sorry.
do you give the other merfolk your name?
Oh, yeah. Elom.
And so you were
should
sent.
know at least my name, or the names.
You were sent here by Archon Magor to deal with this to find this temple. I sent reports to him telling of the temple and the evil that's been growing out from this lake. Has he not given you all of the details of those reports?
It would appear that way.
Interesting. And so, from what you understand, what is his aim? Why does he wishes to retake the temple? It's submerged. It's useless to us. Or to them, anyways, not to us. To them, it might be.
Well, I mean, his purpose was more search and recovery, from what I understood.
Interesting.
There might be something still within the church that he's looking for, but he did not give specifics, no.
Based on what the elves have told me, there are Kuatoa in that lake. If they are as territorial as I last recall them, then we will have no choice but to combat them if they come upon us.
This knowledge gives us choices, though.
This group of individuals was charged by me because I helped them heal their friend with assisting me in stopping the problems around this lake. We are intent on exploring the lake, entering into the temple if necessary, and destroying all evil denizens therein. If your goals are close to the same, I see no point in why we cannot work at this matter together.
I agree.
He nods his head. Perfect. And kind of just heads off to the side and just kind of stands there idly looking out the door. He doesn't look tired at all.
Before he fully gets away from me, one understanding: anything recovered does get returned to the major.
Of course, the Archon will have all of the artifacts therein. This group, I
Did
don't
he say
believe
Majir?
Magor. Archon Magor.
Sorry.
He says, no, not a Magir. Vafa says, they were promised no wealth or earnings. I helped them with the healing of their friend Borgu, and I'm certain that they don't expect any recompensance of that kind.
I'm glad that's understood.
And this is happening while you're awake, Pleasant, but they're literally talking in this strange language that's foreign to you.
Yeah.
Vafa says to you after a fashion, to you Pleasant specifically, in Elvish, if you wish to go to sleep, I have plenty of more energy within me. He says this while he rubs a ring on his left-handed ring finger.
I'm good.
All right. Well, it's
I
getting
don't trust.
It's getting close to your watch end, is what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
And the elves are...
Well, is Kelder up?
No. He just went down. He'll be down for the last watch.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, they're trancing, so they're still aware. Then,
Yeah,
right?
they're aware. And then Vafa says he's going to stay awake as well. So 3 people you know are effectively.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep then.
Okay. And then what have you, Ellum?
We should only need 4 watches, right?
3 4-hour
3.
watches.
Wait, what?
3 4-hour watches. Everybody gets 8 hours who's down, and everybody takes 1 4-hour watch.
Right.
You're down for 12 hours, and you're active for 12 hours.
Then I guess I don't fucking trust Colin. I'm gonna wake up Arma.
You're not gonna wake up the Lord?
No.
Okay.
Is it the last watch? I thought we had a watch in between
No.
this one and the last one.
Just 1 more.
Oh, I'm misunderstanding. Okay, then yeah, I will wake up the Lord.
Okay. As
Get
he
your
wakes
ass up, Chef.
As he wakes up,
What's up?
the sky outside becomes a slight gray coloration, like it's, the sun's just kind of getting its way. It's gonna move towards the rising portion here in a bit. And the other thing you note is the storm outside subsides quite a bit. It's just rainy now.
Smashing. That was quite the rest. Well worth the 5 gold indeed.
You would note that there are more individuals stuffed in the shack besides.
Whoa.
You see 2 elves. One appears to be a high elf. One appears to be a moon elf. You see another merfolk, and this merfolk is still awake, and he kind of looks at you and he says, you are the leader of this company. Is that correct?
Indeed.
And you are also a
Who
servant
are
of
you?
Archon Magor, are you not?
Yes.
I am also a servant of Archon Magor. I am Vafa. I am a constable of the town of Ursulon and a member of the Association of Tal Numri. It's a pleasure to meet you. I have yet to meet any of the knights who are sworn to the Archon.
Interesting. I appreciate the respect, but I'm surprised I haven't heard of you yet.
I don't really get back into town very often. I have very little need for resources from the town. I simply do my work, keep to myself out here in the wilds. I spend a lot of time guarding the wood and tangling with goblins.
We had our own entanglement with goblins.
Truly.
Indeed. We intend to repay that.
Do you happen to remember what color the leathers were?
I believe that they were...
Yes. Red, you said. Interesting. Well, that's... How many of them did you fell?
too many to count, but not enough to save our companions.
You lost friends. Apologies. I will... After this matter is concluded, I will see if I can't recover their bodies. I thank you for your service in that regard. I tell you this, that I don't believe it's goblins that are within the temple that you seek, and the temple that you seek will not be something that can be recovered by the Archon. It is indeed in the lake.
I don't much like swimming.
You shouldn't have to. There's a boat, and if I understand correctly, I think that the temple's underneath has weathered quite well in keeping the water out. So...
Wait, so I'm out of character. Is the temple submerged in the water?
Not fully.
Well, once our companions have a chance to rest, I assume you know these other hustlers?
The individuals that I know, he gestures to, this is Kelder, that is Lady Fi, this is Oris, a bit of a temper on him, and that there is Pleasant. They were confronted by wolves, and I helped them, although they didn't need much of it with that matter. And I brought them to my shack, where their horses currently are posted up. And I had earlier met with an associate of theirs. His name is Borgu, Dragonborn, who I helped bring back to health. And in repayment for doing that for them, helping their ally, they've agreed to help me clean out the lake and the temple of all of these evil denizens that reside within.
Well, it's quite a long-winded explanation.
I don't get very often opportunities to speak to other individuals, so I apologize if I'm long-winded.
Understand. Well, if they were proven in battle, then they are welcome to accompany us as you on our mission, and we'll set out when they awake.
That sounds wonderful. And the storm has subsided quite a bit, so that should be good. Not long after your watch kind of begins, you do notice that your attendant, my brain's not, Armina, wakes up, pulls out from her bag some rations, and starts preparing them in a simple kind of style. She hands you a plate, and then as your watch concludes, hands out plates to your company, including Elam.
Thank you. You're quite the companion.
Vi kind of wakes from her trance and just settles to herself, picking at her own rations. Kelder, you awaken from your trance not long after. And Pleasant and Oris, you finalize your sleep. And The rain isn't as heavy as before. What would you like to do upon waking?
So what are all I remember that we were trying to do is get back with Kelder and Phi. And
Yeah.
so what?
So,
And we're trying to move on to a city, right?
well, if you recall, Vafa had asked you to
Oh,
assist
yeah.
him in dealing with this this lake.
Yeah.
And because he helped Borgu and saved his life effectively,
Yeah.
others in your company kind of agreed to deal with that matter.
Okay.
So long
Okay,
as the storm
yeah.
continues.
Okay.
When Orvis woke up, he'd probably just go sit outside, see if he can't find any animal that he could potentially speak with, just to get a bit more information about what's going on.
Surprisingly,
Literal
not
speak with animals.
not many animals here and around the lake.
He'll mention that to Kelder. He'll say, and Baffa know that there's not really any animals around, which in a forest is weird.
Is Kelder done trancing?
Yeah.
Okay, when he's done, he's gonna, stand up, take a little bit of time to prepare his spells for the day, and then he's gonna go outside and sort of just stand around, stretch, kind of take a look at things.
Okay. Anybody else have anything that they want to engage in the morning time?
Mm.
I'm just eating and actually figuring out my spells out of character too.
So in the water, there's like fish that attack you, right?
That's the rumor.
The rumor. Okay.
I think you actually saw them though with Oris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, but we haven't fought them or anything. Like we don't.
Right.
We just saw them swimming around.
They killed a deer.
They killed a deer. Okay.
How many people are up?
Everyone.
Orvis is gonna, after he's done the animal business, the first two that he finds that he can spot, he's gonna try and get them to follow him over to the water, and he's just gonna dip the axe head in lightly and then pull it out, just to see if that sets it off, and just warn everyone that's what he's doing. He wants to see if they can sense when someone goes in the water or not. So if we used like a boat or something that we could find to drift over to the island, it wouldn't set them off.
Yeah, there's two boats that are present, of course, as mentioned last time. Anavin, the squire, will kind of follow you over to the shore, and then if anybody else wants to follow along as well.
Kelder will. He's gonna go with Oris. Something like leaving his buddy.
Okay.
I'll
Hey.
wait at the shack.
Anavin looks over to you, Kelder, and says, in Elvish, he says, "You're a high elf, yes?"
Kelder smiles and says, "Very perceptive."
Have you been to Talania? Did you train at the Savarius Academy?
Out of character, I don't know.
In your backstory that we just yeah.
So that would be a yes. Kelder nods. Yes.
Kelder nods.
He kind of seems like amazed. Is it true what they say about the city and its temperature? It's always perfect. Is that true?
I'm assuming that has something to do with fey magic.
Yeah, it's because it's in the Feywild. Yeah.
Kelder nods. Yes, it's a wonderful place.
Orvis is gonna mutter under his breath as he walks in front of him slightly. He's just gonna mutter, "I thought I'd escape this bullshit."
More people who talk elves.
People alive.
More people talking Elvish. Damn it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who is this? Who
The
is this?
squire.
Okay, I got you. Is the one that actually looks uncannily like me?
No. That's the one that looks uncannily like you. Like it's almost like it's the same. Yeah, it was the same character, but one was Elvish and one was not. No, that is the pack mule. the least like you as possible.
I got you. So, let me see. Andovin's the one talking to me.
Correct.
Okay. So, yeah. Yeah. Where were we?
Oris dips his blade into the lake, waits a few moments,
Shakes it
nothing
about a bit.
nothing happens.
Okay, and I was talking to Andovin about the
Capital
place
city
where
of the elves, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Andovin's got
So-
a sword, isn't he? Or is it an axe?
Andovin has a sword and a shield.
Also, just gotta look at him and go, do you actually know how to use them, boy?
I've been learning. Yes.
How old are you?
I've seen 15 winters.
Not much younger than me. Yeah, show me what you can do. And Oris is just gonna essentially offer to spar with the
I'm not
squire
a-
for a bit.
I'm not allowed to draw my sword or bear my shield unless I'm ordered to do so by my lord. If
Not
you,
even to save your own life.
if you are attempting to threaten me, not only will you feel the sting of my blade, but that of everyone in my company. And I don't think that's what you're endeavoring to do here. I noticed from last night you were so quick to speak threateningly without thinking about the manner of the actions you were taking. One of the very first things that I learned as a child was that if you're wishing to endeavor into a threatening stance, and you are also not certain what will happen if you have to engage in that action, you're taking one of the greatest foolish measures possible. And I don't mean to be insulting to you. You do look like a formidable opponent, and I would very much enjoy to learn what you're able to offer, but rules have to be followed. And
Rules make you weak and rules let you die.
I,
Just pick and choose the ones you need to follow.
I don't agree with your statement. That is not the teachings of Atavius. That is not the teachings of the even-handed judge. I hope that whoever you serve as a god or figurehead in that regard, or whatever philosophy you adhere to, brings you some measure of warmth and comfort, but it is not the true way.
Should punch him.
Fucking Jesus freak.
Temptation to just slap him and just steal bronze line of just one lesson for you. Everyone wants to slap a fucking squire.
Yeah, dude, know your place.
Or this will just chuckle and essentially say
Audible.
he's not really a faithful
You should, like-
person.
Fake him out.
He know
Might I make a
he's got
suggestion?
belief, but doesn't follow anything.
He looks to you. Might I make a suggestion towards our current endeavor? The discussion of fighting and faiths and whatnot, that was fun and all, but can I make a suggestion towards the matter that you're trying to engage in here?
Go for it.
You look like you're very strong, and I can't stress that enough, and it looks like you've seen quite a lot in your life. He walks over and he shoves his sword into the ground after pulling it, and then rents out a stone that looks like it probably weighs about 5 or 6 pounds. How far do you think you can throw that into the lake?
Fuck.
I think it might be better for what you're trying to do.
Kelder
Is-
watches this exchange and just casually, like, draws his bow. And just stands back and waits.
Okay.
Or is just gonna give Kelder the evil eye because he knows what he's gonna do.
No, he's waiting
And
to
then
see if
he'll
anything pops out, and he's going to shoot at it.
No, I have a feeling
Right.
Kelder's gonna deliberately shoot the bow further.
No.
No. You're gonna make a big splash, and if something pops its head out, Kelder's gonna shoot it in the face.
Oh, I thought.
That's a lot more wholesome than I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a bit more dastardly.
I thought he was going
I'll
to
just-
shoot the rock, and it was going to go flying off and not hit the water, because that's the thing.
That's
that
what I
could've
thought.
happened.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought was going to happen too, and then he was going to miss, and we were all going to laugh. It would have been.
Make an athletic
Not
check.
surprised, but I have an intelligence of 19. I'm not stupid.
Make that athletics check for me.
I
No.
have a question.
Okay. You
On
kind
your
of. Well, so go ahead.
on your stats, there's like the big number, and then there's the smaller number in the circle.
Sure. So the big number is your stat. It doesn't actually add to rolls or anything. It determines what your modifier will be, and the modifier
okay.
is the smaller number.
Okay.
Back to you real quick, Lewis. You move to it and you kind of take it and just you try to baseball throw it, and it doesn't go as far as you thought, and it kind of causes you to sprain a little bit. And as it drops and hits the ground, he kind of looks to you and goes, "Oh,
Forgot the stretch.
well, no. Let me teach you something again. Here, let me show you what would be a better technique." And he kind of
Damn, dude.
walks over to the rock and brings it back over to you because it didn't actually go into the water that much. He walks it over to you and he hands it to you, and he says, "Okay, so what you want to do is hold it close to your chin, okay? And then you want to get a bit of a wind up with your back foot and spin about and then push the rock up into the sky. Do you think you can manage that?"
Yep.
Okay, go for
Bro,
it.
Squire.
Go for
Can
it.
I
You
can
have
I hear
advantage
them?
for this athletics check. Yeah, you would be able to hear them.
Throw the rock in the sky.
You have advantage for this athletics check.
Natural 20.
You use the technique that this young boy just taught you, not having thrown things like this before, and use like the shot puts technique. And you feel right. It feels right. And when you get that full spin and throw it, it goes a good 80 feet out and splashes into the water. And you kind of go, "Oh." And again, take it as you will. But I mean, the presumption is the boy has taught you something useful.
Always will give the boy back the 5 gold that he took for his room that night and just go, a gift.
And he kind of holds his
For
hand
you.
up. It's all right. I appreciate.
Were you never taught to not turn down a gift?
I was taught to turn down a
Accept
gift
the
unless it
gift
was
when given.
sincere.
It is sincere, boy.
Oh, then if that's the case, I apologize. I will take it, but I just want to make sure. I mean, you understand. It's not something I concern myself with. I'm well taken care of.
And a treat for you.
Well, thank you. He smiles. Well, did anything happen? Looks over to the elf. Nothing popped.
Yeah, okay. Like as soon as that rock made contact with the water, Kelder would have knocked an arrow and then like continued waiting and watching.
Yep. You're sitting there holding, and you're looking at the area around. The ripples are subsiding, kind of ebbing out towards the edges of what you can see of the lake, and nothing comes up. It was a big splash, though. It went up about 80 feet and out about 80 feet before it dropped.
Shall we assume that means we can use the boat safely? You'll say to Kelder.
Yeah, Kelder shrugs and he says, "Yeah, we might as well get started." Is the sun up? Is it like light out?
Yeah, it's that like kind of dark, misty gray kind of morning.
England weather.
You're
Okay,
basically in
so-
England.
So Kelder thinks basically everybody should, get up, start mobilizing, get prepared to head out, and hopefully that'll give the morning time to progress until it's lighter.
Are the boats big enough to fit us all?
So each
There
of the
are
boats,
a lot of us.
each of the boats looks like it can hold 6.
That's a
there,
lot.
there are 2 boats.
And there's how many of us? 4, 5.
8?
8 total. No, 9 total.
Okay, so clearly we'll be taking 2 boats.
10
I think
to-
Boris.
10 total, yeah.
Vafa's not present. Yeah, I didn't put his token down. Vafa can swim though.
I don't think anyone should swim, or
Yeah.
if anyone has to swim, Orwis will recommend he does it just because he can take a few more hits if anything comes up for them.
Vafa shakes his head.
Fair enough.
I'll be fine. And looks to the
Can I
Koira.
fly?
Have you ever seen a trackless change its form? In Aquan?
I've only heard tales and seen pictures. It'll be quite a treat.
I've only heard tales is always the answer of Aquira. He smiles and walks over to the water. As he kind of straddles into the water, you see him kind of like pull away a bit, and then kind of like feels like he buckles under his own weight, and then you notice that his legs have turned into a single fin.
Hot.
He appears to have basically turned into like a true idea of what you think of merfolk. The trackless transformation.
Who can do range? So we should have at least one to each boat, and then one heavy hitter in each boat.
And you see Vappa pull out a bow as well, and he says, "I can swim faster than they could ever dream of swimming. I will not be in fear of any combatants. I will outrun them, and I will stay a bit of ways ahead of you, so that if anything does approach me, I will return back to you, and you'll be prepared."
Honestly, if we stay in our configuration of like Chef, our retainers, and me, and then you five, we're doing exactly what you said. We got a heavy hitter and a ranged at each boat.
Mm-hmm.
Just do that then, and then head ahead.
Yep, that seems fine. Keep them separated. If the two groups of you kind of jump into your individual boats and start to maneuver in that direction, you can see that Vappa's kind of taken the lead and kind of occasionally will raise his bow up above the water to make sure you know where he's at. He doesn't stay too far ahead of you, maybe 30 or so feet, and make sure that you're able to see him in his signaling. It is a bit mistier out on the lake, and as you kind of sail on in, Andavin, not being able to see much, actually gets out his lantern, lights it, and holds it out over the water so that a bit more can be seen, because it's a bit denser, the mist, out on the lake. And as you continue on, you can see the silhouette set between, sidled between two points of land, and bear with me here while I try and get out a handout.
Kelder's going to keep his bow ready and keep an eye on the water.
Okay.
Kelder, do you have control water?
You don't know anything about control water as a spell? Come on now.
I do not.
You meta monkey.
That's really good. Does control water work on mist anyway?
Not really, no. Anyways, as you kind of move to that point where it looks like the lake kind of comes into a very narrow space, you'd see the silhouette of the tower that you saw the night before, Kelder. Set upon Lake Ingana, you see this.
Hmm.
It doesn't look like it's too terribly far away from you, and nothing has assaulted you upon the waters. Vappa very quickly swims over to it, and as he kind of approaches it, he starts to circle around it, keeping an eye out for you guys as you approach. All right. I'll go ahead and say that Shaft, your boat's the lead boat, as it looks like Colin is very good at the rowing process. And you would assume Oris would be stronger, but it looks like this guy is actually trained for manual labor and doesn't swing weapons. So rowing boats, carrying stuff, like it's his job. He rows faster than Oris. It's probably ticking him off, to be completely honest, because that's how Oris operates. But Colin kind of and gets up to the spire. Would you like
Temptation to rage row just to outrace him?
No, you wouldn't.
Would I?
For the purposes of lifting, carrying, or operating any type of skill that has to do with manual labor, his strength is considered 5 points higher, and he has advantage for those checks.
Damn!
And his strength is a 16 base, so he is 1 point higher than you.
Quite
Dang.
literally his job.
It is quite literally all he does. He is a pack mule. So that said, what would you like to do as you approach?
So we've approached and are like next to the steeple then at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
So as the boat approaches whatever dock or landing we're going to be using at this tower, Kelder wants to be ready to just like hop off as soon as possible. And the very first thing he's going to do, as everybody else is disembarking, is he's going to start casting detect magic as a ritual.
Did we ever discover how we were going to breathe underwater?
That's not going to be an issue.
So the belfry, as you can see, like the bell tower is kind of set out above the water. The actual portion that you can go out onto to, if you were working on the bell or whatever, pop up onto. It looks like there are posts that go up to the top portion of the belfry, which you could possibly tie a line to secure your boat to if you needed to. But again, Leon, you're in the lead, and you're dilly-dallying, deciding what you're wanting to do is making it so Oris is actually pulling up alongside as well. So that said, do you want to tie off to it, or do you want to just board it and let the boat sail away?
Yeah, I'll anchor the boat to the steeple. As I say that,
Colin kind of
I'll
nods
be
his
right
head,
back.
pulls rope out, and basically pulls himself up to it. Andovan hops up, and Colin throws him the line. Andovan very quickly wraps the rope around the post, and Colin kind of tugs it tight, pulling the boat to lean up against it taut. Or as you watch as they basically secure that just as you're pulling up alongside, what would the other group like to do?
I reckon I suggest just securing our boat to their boat.
Okay. And basically, as you're pulling up alongside it then and getting close to it, Calvin kind of reaches his hand out to you, holding his hand out like he's ready to accept your rope. Do you hand it to him?
Yeah.
The two of you basically hold the line, wrap them around your thing, and both pull them together taut. And as you're pulling with him, and you're, he's pulling and you're pulling, you kind of feel this moment where you're kind of matched for strength. And he kind of narrows his eyes at you for a moment and kind of smiles. And then the two of you tie this thing together. As that's happening, Fi, not caring about all of that muscular bullshit, steps off of her boat onto their boat, then steps off of that boat up onto the spire, or onto the belfry.
Yeah, I'm also gonna dismount.
Okay.
Oris will follow suit, axe ready and out, just in case anything comes to be a bit of a dick.
Alright, I'll go ahead and pull you to a map. As that's all happening and you guys are getting up onto the belfry, Vafa hops up onto the land, and then after a fashion you see his legs shift and become regular legs. And he slowly gets up from a sitting position. That said, this is what it looks like. Let me get rid of the... Alright, so kind of whitish stone, kind of cracked and broken in patches. The well of the bell tower descends down some 80 or so feet. All along the sides of it, you can see that there's kind of green moss that's kind of grown out, and algae, or lake bits. And there are holes all throughout that look like they once housed large posts that were placed in there to presumably hold up like a stairwell that would have gone down. But over time it looks like that has rotted away, and there's no sign of it anywhere other than the holes present in the side walls there. Just across from you on the opposite side of the well there is what appears to be a large amount of heavy boards that have been pinioned down by pitons and large spikes and nails. It looks like something was boarded down into that position intentionally. And besides that, at the very bottom, you notice that above you there is a bell, but the bell doesn't appear to have a bell portion in its center. Instead, it has a number of different mirrors in the interior, and a hole at its top where it's connected at the top, and the sun, which is barely coming through, seems to kind of beam through just a little bit, enough to cause a little bit of light to shine down at the bottom of the well, and down there you see a mosaic of a sun pattern. The sun being a symbol of time, or of specifically Atavius, and you see arrows pointing out from it, which would indicate to markings of Atavius, the god of absolute law, the god of the sun, the even-handed judge, etc. Most of you now in this party worship him, I think.
Should we go rip up that board?
Yeah, Kelder's gonna go stand over here.
Okay.
With an arrow at the ready, and he's gonna nod at those those boards, and he's gonna say, "Oris, would you mind opening that up?" And he's gonna ready an arrow in case something pops.
Oris will bend down, grab each side, and just rip. Just try and rip the whole thing off.
Okay. Make a strength athletics check with disadvantage.
12.
You get your fingers in there and kind of try to get a grip, and you're kind of prying at something that is not going to be readily movable with just your fingertips.
I'll
Keller
shout
says, "Maybe you should have the other guy help you out."
You see
The
that
squire.
as that process is being engaged in, Cowlin is literally bringing up all of the backpacks and all of the gear that was a part of the entourage, of Leon's entourage, and getting it out onto the ground there. Andovan is kind of securing the area and kind of making sure that the area by the boats is secure, and that they have a defensible position at that location. Leon, you would know that dragging them into possibly dangerous situations like a dungeon would not be something that you're going to be able to do, and they'll probably stick behind. Anybody you want to talk to in particular before that separation kind of comes up, or no?
Do we have a crowbar in the party?
You kind of look to everyone, and then you see Cowlin kind of reach into the bags, kind of shuffle about, and pull out a crowbar.
That'll work.
Orphan was just going to swing down with his great axe.
Do you want to give that a shot?
Yeah, I'll give that a shot first.
Okay. Make a strength athletics check, again with disadvantage. Or that'll work, because I think it's the same for you. Okay, as the axe comes barreling down, you see it kind of hit against the wood and kind of leave just a very narrow, tiny kind of sliver of a cut as it kind of bounces the blade off of it. It seems that the wood's strength and its kind of ability to bounce isn't allowing for you to get a direct blow into the wood itself. Eventually, the crowbar gets handed over to you and handed off.
I'll,
Yeah, we'll use that.
Make a strength athletics check, just straight, no disadvantage.
I'll aid him.
If you are aiding, it still adds the same benefit the crowbar would, so it's just straight.
Okay.
The two of you together, kind of heaving and hoeing, like you get the crowbar underneath, and then Lord Leon kind of moves underneath and kind of gets something wedged underneath and kind of helps pry it up, and the two of you start pulling the boards off. It takes a good 10 minutes between the two of you, but you manage to get all of the boards off, and it appears to be completely black descent down with a ladder that it's made out of rusted iron that descends down some 20 feet.
So while they're heaving and hoeing and prying all that off, does my detect magic show me anything unusual around here?
Detect magic takes over your eyesight, and you can start seeing magical auras. You see that the shield that's on Leon's back glows. It looks like Vatha's bow glows. These would be new items you haven't seen glow before. And then it looks like the instrument that the merfolk has on his back also glows.
He files that away for future reference.
Besides that, nothing else.
Also, Baffa's ring.
Oh, Vatha's ring also glows, yeah.
Okay, so, but nothing about the temple itself.
The temple's, completely non-magic.
Anything in the water?
Nothing.
Okay. Kelder would report all that to. Okay, so yeah, you basically report all that to Elam and Leon and what's that guy's name?
Okay.
Yes, I'm aware my shield is magical. Thank you for that insight.
More along the lines of there's no unusual magical auras present.
Is this...
I will.
Oh, you go first, John.
I'll. This is who's the god you said?
Atavius.
Atavius.
Your god.
I will convene with Atavius to imbue me with the ability to know if this has been corrupted in any way, and I'll use Divine Sense to try and see if there's any.
Doesn't appear
Curious
to be
stuff.
any presences within 60 feet that are glowing or radiantly evil or good.
Does this ladder have water at the bottom of it or in it? Or
No.
is it just straight drop 20 foot?
Straight drop 20-foot rusted iron bars of the ladder descending down. It completely pitch black at the bottom from your human sight, and it looks like it's just a small alcove of a room that probably has a wall in common with the well on its left and a wall in common with the outside wall of the tower itself.
I have some rope.
Or, yeah, I was going to say, can I pinch some rope from anyone that's got rope and
Yeah.
Pleasant to land? And then I'll go down first.
Okay. Do you want Pleasant to go with you as well?
Yeah, can do. She can
Okay.
ride on my shoulders as I go down.
If you want, you can just tie the rope off to the pillar directly north of you.
Yeah.
Toss the rope in, and then you'd have 30 feet of descent, and you only need 20. So if the two of you drop down into that dark room, you very quickly realize that it kind of continues underneath where everybody's kind of standing, where Leon's standing and the like, and it moves to be a staircase that kind of descends down and around the outside of the interior. That makes sense?
Once they're down, assuming nothing weird happens, Kelder would soon follow. Wherever Oris is, that's where Kelder likes to be.
This was gonna...
Do either of you have dark vision? No, you don't, right? So do you light a torch or a lantern?
Yeah, I was going to say lantern, because then I could have it on one of our belts as we climb down, so
Okay.
it's already lit.
Gotcha. If that's the case, what you'll find inside of this first chamber before it moves to the stairwell is that the walls are covered with these kind of shelf units that have been kind of ingratiated into the stone, and they seem to be growing out these plants. Some of them are missing leaves, like they've been chopped off, but the leaves are very familiar to you. It looks like the growing source of your location that you found earlier appears to be right here.
Ooh.
You said the plants obviously look like they were cut intentionally.
Yeah, like someone was harvesting leaves from them.
Are we the only two down there at the moment?
Correct.
Yeah.
Also say to Pleasant, do you want to pull a prank?
Yeah.
Oris will just shout as loud as he can, "Oh, fuck!" and then smash his axe onto some wall to make a loud bang.
So the
Leon
second
descends as quickly as possible.
The second you say, "Oh fuck," and then smash your axe on it, the thing that Pleasant notices, paying attention to kind of acoustics, is it echoes in the chamber that you're in, and it seems to funnel down the steps, the sound of him screaming. So any attempts at silence are probably aborted at this time. Because of
Kelder's
that.
already on his way down.
And a lot of you drop down into it. Okay. Vafa looks to Leon before he jumps in, and before that happens, and says, "Do you wish me to stay with your associates here and keep watch behind you, so if anything comes out from the lake, we're prepared to retreat back to your back?"
Bappa's the guy who...
The merfolk,
said-
yeah.
Okay. Yes, you should stay up here out of danger, and my associates will keep you safe.
I'm more than willing to engage with you, but it does seem that keeping an eye on our backs is probably best.
Yeah, I don't trust what's coming out of these waters. We should be able to handle ourselves.
Oh fuck! Smash is when that happens. Then you turn around and
Oh.
jump in the hole, right, Leon?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of you go into the darkness. Are you going to follow the staircase down or figure out what's going on with Oris? Because, again, this portion of the map isn't drawn out. It's just a... Yeah. But what would you like to do
Wow.
once you get down there?
What happened?
I tripped and smacked my axe into the wall. She thought it'd be funny to shout. And he'll point at Pleasant, because Pleasant has proven she can mimic his voice and essentially put the blame on Pleasant.
Fuck!
Typical. Well, this is quite the serious mission, so let's keep the horsing around to a minute. We have a job to do.
What's
We have a
danger
job
without
to
a bit of fun?
We do.
Oh my god.
And then I'll notice the plants. Can
Yeah,
I try to see if what the plants are?
sure.
mean,
Go ahead and make a
If they have them.
intelligence history check.
John, you mean?
Go ahead and make an intelligence history check.
16.
Yeah, devil's weed. There's actually quite a bit of it that passes through Ursulon. You know that it's an illegal substance, and it's typically not well liked by the nobility because it's just not good. And also, a lot of the noble folks deal in like breweries and alcohol, and devil's weed seems to be kind of a cutoff for them to be able to make money. So they don't typically like it passing through their town.
Okay. Alright.
Legalize the devil's weed.
Kelder
I'll,
would never say that.
Oh, I know.
I'll just
But
try
also, he's all about personal freedom. So if he did decide that he wanted to smoke the devil's weed, he would fully expect nobody to interfere with him doing whatever the fuck.
So
Sounds
he's
like
more
a-
about decriminalization than legalization, is what I'm getting.
He sounds like a sovereign citizen.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, this is getting deep. That said,
You started it.
I'll ruin the
Personal
crops as
freedom,
much as
personal
possible.
responsibility.
so if you guys are attempting to continue down the way,
Yep.
Are you doing so immediately, or are you waiting a moment and then heading down?
Nope.
Okay.
Immediately.
All right. 1 second. Bear with me here.
Wow.
Sorry. You descend down. It loops you all the way around to the northern portion. It becomes a 5-foot narrow way and then leads to a kind of a spiral staircase that kind of ends your last 20 or so feet down your descent. In your marching order, who would be first in line?
Probably.
Leon went to.
Okay.
Oris.
Oris, are you
Yeah,
fighting?
it's like Oris.
Are you fighting Leon for
Well-
first?
Is Leon a paladin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely you two.
One or the
I
other.
wouldn't fight him for being right at the front, but I'd definitely try and be second, or at the very least.
Okay. So Leon, as you descend down, as you're coming down the staircase, you hear coming from down the steps.
Arrow at the ready.
Does anyone else hear it, or can only he hear it?
He's the first one in, so it's kind of just quiet to him.
Okay.
I turned to the rest of the group and put my finger to be quiet. Even though they know where
Do you wait a couple moments before you start
Yeah.
approaching? Okay. If you
try to
do,
listen.
you hear the voices kind of get a little bit like lower, like they're moving away, and it sounds like they're kind of exiting out of a central chamber, you'd presume, based on the sound that's coming out. And it sounds like whatever was down there has moved away, and then you hear the sound of a shutting door.
Okay, I wave on to.
Okay. If you continue on and move into the next area, the very first thing you'll notice is a 10-foot wide, 10-foot long hallway at the base of the steps that leads to the central bottom, the mosaic floor with a sun pattern on it. And there is a bit of light kind of shining down in the center there, and a bit of water is kind of dripping down, kind of pooling out and around from the mist collecting in the top and kind of descending down below. There are 2 doors in that hallway, one on the right, one on the left. They're not directly across from each other, kind of catty-cornered to the sides. Yeah, so the marching order would have been Leon, Oris, Kelder in third, And then Pleasant or the Bard.
And Kelder's just gonna, keep an arrow at the ready. I mean, that's what archers do. If the fightier guys get into a fight, he wants to be ready to shoot.
Okay, so you have Suel El Fama, right? That's what you have drawn out, right? Wind and Wave.
Yeah. Don't throw those big words at me.
Sorry, I was speaking Elvish. Do me a favor there, Zaki. Roll me a history check. Roll me another history check right after it, because you're going to have to double up on them.
Should we have Acting Boy quite close?
Okay, so the 21, perfect. You recognize the weapon that the elf is wielding. It's an old merfolk weapon known as Suel El Falma. It is also known as Wind and Wave. It's a pair of swords that can turn into a bow. And they were given to elves long ago as a sign of friendship between elves and merfolk. And then the other one, you notice that Fi has a dagger, but you don't recognize it, but it looks like the blade of it is made out of gemstone.
Got it.
But yeah, I was just going to bring up maybe having Zach near the front, just because he can speak Aquid, and I'm assuming these creatures probably speak Aquid, maybe?
Maybe.
I probably am best served directly in the middle of the party, so I guess I'll go next.
Okay. It looks like there are points of exit out of this main hall that you weren't able to see from above because of the way that the drop kind of goes. There's kind of like a lip at the bottom, and then the exits. Looks like there's a path to the west, to the south, and a path to at least one path to the east. You're currently seeing only the light from the center at this point right now, Shaft, right? Okay.
Yeah.
It does look like the other recesses here are dark, completely pitch. So, do you want some form of light?
Well, you said these are doors, right? That are currently shut.
Yeah, to the sides there. Oh, no. Those aren't doors. No. The doors are the white blocks next to you or to the north of you.
Oh, I see.
Right here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Correct.
Kelder's gonna move over here, and he's gonna kind of like look around the room, and he glances at Pleasant, and he says, "Pleasant, would you be so kind as to check for traps?"
I guess.
Investigation check, please.
Where?
Skills. Investigation.
Yeah.
It's not on there? Oh.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Okay.
It was just hiding in the eyes. Is it the
19.
left number?
Yeah.
Okay, 19.
So it doesn't look like there are any traps here. These doors don't appear to be locked either. But what you notice is that they are wooden doors with iron wrought like exteriors, like braces and like framing.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like the doors have kind of swollen inside of their metal and push the metal out to kind of budge out against the door frame. So it doesn't look like they're locked, but it does look like if you wanted to open them, you'd either have to you'd have to disassemble them, which would take a long time, or you'd have
Disassemble.
or smash through them.
Can you do that with the iron?
The disassembling or the smashing?
The smashing.
Yeah, you're gonna budge it out.
Oh, okay.
Of its frame.
Well, could you use the crowbar?
Could help,
Oh,
but
okay.
it'll probably be loud.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. They know we're here. So the doors are trapped or just locked?
They're not locked. They're just hard to open because they're old and like swelled, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I could try and push them open.
Yeah. Let's set up defensible position here. So this is the stairwell? Like
The stairwell,
it's just
yeah.
This little 4x4?
Yeah, it kind of goes
Like
up
that we
and
just
around.
came down.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then the other creatures went through a door, but we don't know.
It
Yeah,
doesn't.
either one.
It doesn't sound like it came through a door that was close to you because you were up at the top of those stairs, and it sounded like where the sound came from originally was the main chamber, and then it sounded like they
Oh.
went somewhere else, possibly one of the other three passageways, and then a door slammed from down that way.
Yes, I believe if we're going to open these doors, we should do so now while we still have an escape route. Let's try this one first.
Okay. Who is going to be the one engaging in the door opening?
What skill is that?
It'll be an athletics check. So it'll, if you use the crowbar, or if two of you engage at it trying to shove it open, you'll have advantage for the check.
Me and you, chef.
Yeah, I mean, or go ahead and do it with the crowbar, and I'll get my shield ready.
Go.
All right. Go ahead and make a strength athletics check.
Nice.
Natural 20.
Okay, so this is going to be great. You watch Oris kind of look at it and go, I just kind of hit it lightly to what you would anticipate. It looks like it's just an effortless punch. And when he hits it, you see the door kind of, and it doesn't make a large noise.
Well done.
And the one next to you is the one you hit, right?
One next to chef, yeah.
Okay, the one on the left. All right. Inside is a 10 by 10 small chamber. It looks like the rotted remains of a bed have kind of like disintegrated out onto the floor. It looks like just a small little chamber with really not much besides it. It looks like the people who were probably keeping the bell tower, they might have slept here.
That seems like a way. I guess we should try the other.
I apparently can't. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Did it go away? Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Trying the other one.
Go and try and smash the other one.
Okay. Make another strength athletics check again with advantage.
26, if it's with advantage.
You seem to have a knack for knocking, and the door opens perfectly. You know exactly. You kind of look at it for a little while, look for like the weakest point in the swell, and hit it so that it opens. And again, without sound.
Always broke into some house when he was younger, that's all.
That might have been it. Inside this chamber, a little less damp. Doesn't feel as damp as the rest of the chambers have so far. And it looks like, inside there's a small switch to the side. And it looks like it opens into a pretty small 20 by 10 room with some books on shelves. The books seem to be in decent enough order.
Kelder's gonna start checking out the books.
Well, that makes sense. Okay. You guys move over to the books. Both of you can make an investigation check.
I'm specifically looking for anything of religious value.
Okay. If that's the case, you have advantage on your check.
Kelder's looking for stuff of arcane value.
No advantage on that check. Okay. So, Leon, as you're sifting through the books, you very quickly realize the importance of this specific chamber. It seems to be a stash of histories, specifically histories of familial orders and knightly orders who may have been posted or present at this temple. Based on this being here, you assume that you're probably close to the main entrance to the temple, or where it would have been when it was not submerged. You would also note that there are a couple of storybooks of religious significance that you're not familiar with. One specifically is called The Snake That Swallows the Sun.
I will collect all of those religious and historical values.
Okay. Bag them up.
And I'll take them for him and put them in my pack, since I'm pretty sure you left your pack outside.
Maybe. If my pack is that other guy, then yes.
Yeah.
You
Take the boat.
realize that up above you see something kind of dangling down on a rope, and Leon's pack is deposited on the mosaic floor by Cowlin.
This is handy.
After you untie the rope, he drops it, so you have 50 more feet of rope.
Fantastic.
All this, I don't want to shout, but at the same time, I think we should warn them up top that they've left the building, so they might be swimming out and up. We had a door open, and they might be swimming up towards them three.
That sounds like a what tactic?
Fi looks at you and says, if you open a door and there's water outside of it, the water would enter in. They probably didn't go
That's
outside.
also wise.
Yeah, that's not how water works.
Your water.
I've got a blind baffle.
What do you
Okay.
think? What do you think this is? Abyss? I can't be as snarky as Stephanie. Anyway, that said, if you guys are moving about, it looks like there are actually a total of 4 different points of leaving this location. You can go to the northeast, to the southeast, south directly south, or west directly west.
Can I make some type of knowledge check here to recall? Can I try to determine what would be the most logical direction to go to find, as far as like a...
So based on
that makes sense.
your positioning, you assume that if there's going to be a front door to the place, it would probably be to the south.
Yeah, I guess I'm looking for like a chapel of sort.
If you're trying to get to the chapel, with temples like this, it could be subterranean. That was sometimes the case with older temples. So you would need to find a stairway down.
While they're doing that, Keller wants to do a quick investigation of this room. I mean, they took all the significant books, but he wants to check
sorry.
for, like...
I didn't get to you on the arcane part. I apologize. With a 19, you actually would have found something. It looks like you find an Acolyte's spell book and an Acolyte's prayer book. The two are very different, but they do have similar purpose. The prayer book has a listing of spells, which are a divine nature, and the Acolyte's book of arcane spells has arcane spells, but of a more religious nature. There are a total of 10 spells in the book, and if you bear with me for 1 second, I will go to my notes and find that Acolyte's book. The prayer book doesn't give you spells, though, because clerics always have all divine spells that they'd have capable. Same with paladins, I believe. It's just for someone who's learning the nature of spells, they would use that. But
Well, I'll hang on to the prayer book and check it out later, and if it proves of no value to Kelder, he'll give it to one of the other guys that are a follower of...
Sure.
Yeah, if Leon would have seen it, then he would have...
Because Kelder's very... He loves reading books and learning stuff.
The book might be handy for if you don't have need of.
Yeah, well, for you, relic-wise, that kind of book, that prayer book, it's not significant to you because you have tons of them back at your temple, back in Ursulon.
Oh, okay. So I could get him one.
This is just an older copy, so it might be significant for that matter, but it's not any different than the books you would have at your own temple.
Okay.
And what I wanted to do was basically after we got all the books off the shelf, I wanted to do a quick investigation for any like hidden compartments, like a false back to the bookshelf, anything like...
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be anything.
Okay.
Good thought, though.
Good thought, though.
Yeah, so we'll check out the south.
Okay. If you head directly south, you will see that there is a bunch of stone that looks like it's kind of fallen in from the above it, kind of crumpled down. And you do notice that a lot of dirt and muck has kind of filled in as well. A lot of the green sludge that you saw inside of the well above you is also present, and it looks like water is kind of trickling slowly out onto into a pool on the ground. And from what you can tell, it kind of looks like it's also easily flowing through the walls on the sides. You would know that in a temple, a normal temple, typically to the left, you would have a area where a guardian would stay and basically check anybody in who's coming into the temple. And to the left, like when you're entering on the left, so on your right, on the left side of the screen, and then on the right would be a place of honor for pilgrims to come and visit, typically with a statue of like a favored warrior or favored priest or favored folk hero of the temple.
But that's not currently present.
If there would be an entrance to it, it wouldn't be here. It would be somewhere else, like along the outside. You'd have to kind of loop around to both entrances.
Kelder's gonna stand in the middle of the room with an arrow at the ready.
You can see that on the that wall, though, the wall where the guardian would be, there is kind of an opening slit, like an arrow slit. And if you want to kind of peer in through it with light, you would see that it's, a 20 by 10 room with a door in it on the opposite side of where you're looking. And it looks like water's kind of filled out the floor, some 2 or 3 feet worth of water.
Talking right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's try something else. Go that way?
Okay. You guys are heading around that way? Okay.
Basically, wherever they go, Kelder wants to move to follow them so that he can cover them.
Makes sense. Okay. As you guys are moving about, I would like everyone as a group to make a stealth check. Because you did say whisper, whisper, but you didn't... you would probably be moving around quietly, but I just want to make sure how well that goes.
Very
5.
stealthy. 6.
5, 6, 15, 26, 14, and then 5. Sorry, bear with me, loading our character sheet up. You speak Undercommon, you said? Yeah. Okay. You hear a loud, in Undercommon, what was that noise? Come from the door just up ahead. And at that point, you hear what sounds like weapons being brandished. And it sounds like your combatants are just on the other side of the door. Since it is currently 2 hours out from where we started, I'm going to go ahead and say at the start of next session, we'll be rolling initiative and engaging in combat with the first guardians of the temple. All right. Everybody, thanks for watching. I think Kevin was in there watching, Kevin Gibson. So good times. And
Bye, Kevin.
yeah, see you guys in 2 weeks. This game runs bi-weekly.
Bye.
See ya.
Playing with you guys.
Bye-bye.